Hey everybody, welcome to the 5th week of work on the low gravity research spaceship. This week I'm aiming to finish this bad boy right here. I have a couple of things that I have to do. Of course, I have to finish sculpting the pilot, which I started last week and was quite of a challenge. But I also want to do like a final detail pass on the entire ship. And here's something that I didn't show you guys in the past episodes. Look right here in the bottom of the spaceship, alongside the 4 smaller hop thrusters, there are 3 big holes, and inside each of these holes there's a name for a nut hidden in there. And you guys might be thinking, yeah, of course you gotta attach it to a base, and you guys are correct, but there's an idea behind that. See, in my mind, if this spaceship is racing around the moon, it should have like an orbiting paddock, and every racer spaceship is attached, is docked to this orbiting paddock. And when they're about to race, of course, they will drop from the paddock and go to the racetrack. So yeah, enough talking, and now let's work on this little guy right here.
Now, sculpting can be super time consuming, and sometimes it takes a while till you'll see some progress. But there's no way around it, you really gotta put in some work. But here's one thing I've noticed: sometimes it is faster to just glue with CA some cured epoxy on the top of what you have and keep going forward. As I was working on the pilot, I decided to change some stuff on the seat. As you can see right there, I changed the foot pads, and I also added this white tube right there to be like the cable for the joystick. But then I had to face the biggest challenge of this figure, sculpting the hands. So as you can see right there, I've added some uncured epoxy on the top of the joystick cable, and eventually I separated the pilot from the seat. I just need the illusion that it is holding the joystick. I don't need it to be really connected to the seat. Then once the epoxy was almost 100% set, I grabbed my Dremel tool and I tried carving some fingers, and that was super challenging.
Okay, so the pilot is not perfect by any stretch of imagination, but it's better done than perfect, I think. And I should just keep moving forward. Now, the back of the bubble is too empty, and my idea is that the cockpit can kind of eject from the spaceship in case of an accident. So yeah, I'll put some smaller thrusters on the back right here so that the cockpit can kind of eject from the spaceship and save this little guy's life right here.
But I was getting some nasty cracks on the other shell, probably from putting the glass on and off to record the videos, and I had to take care of that before going any further. So I made this custom 3D printed ring piece right there, simple stuff, and it was glued in place with some thin CA glue. It definitely made the glass fit tighter, but it's better to be safe than sorry. With that problem solved, I could move ahead and go for the thrusters. I began by deciding where each would be. I did some sanding and marking, and then I glued it in place with some CA glue. Now we are ending the summer around here, and I have the fan going all the time, so this is why we have this hair situation on the video. I'm so sorry for that. But anyways, ejection thrusters were finished, and I really liked the end result. Now in case of an accident, the pilot can be safely removed from the scene.
Okay, so the cockpit is finished, the pilot is done, and now I need to go to the final detail pass before doing the docking arm that will connect to the bottom of the spaceship. Now, if I'm being honest, there's not much to be done in the detailing phase. As you can see, there's already a ton of detail on the body and on the engine and inside of the cockpit. And it could be interesting to leave the 2 fuel tanks with less detailing than the body to create a contrast. Like these 2 big shapes, I think, are the main shapes on the spaceship. When you look at it, you'll see the 2 big fuel tanks, and it could be interesting to keep them like that, like with big shapes going, and leave the detailing portion, the detailed portion, as the back and the engine, to create this nice contrast in between the shapes of the spaceship.
So I was very strategic with the amount of details I was going to add on this final detail pass, especially on the fittings. And while I was adding some tiny little very delicate details that could really help telling the scale of the model, I had to keep in mind to not interfere too much with the front of the spaceship, keeping the characteristics of the fittings, the tube shapes, intact to the end of the process, leaving the details to be on the back side of the spaceship. This is something that can really be forgotten when designing some hard surface objects and machines. So yeah, look at the masters and see how they distribute the amount of detail across the model, across the object. And to be clear, I'm not claiming right here that I'm good at it. I'm just saying that I keep these things in mind when I'm working on my models. As you can see, I limited myself to add some extra details only on the outside rings of the fittings, leaving some big and round empty areas that will actually be helpful on the painting process. This is going to be a racer spaceship, so I'm planning to do like a nice livery for this model. And I decided to actually invite my patrons for this. On the Repair Robot tier, they'll be able to send me their logos and they'll be featured on the side of the spaceship as brands on this nice racer spaceship livery. Please check the link in the description box if you want to join them. But anyways, I kept going with the detailing phase, adding smaller features here and there without changing too much of the silhouette of the spaceship. Right here I'm adding like some entrances on the bottom of the fuel tanks that I think will look super good. I'll show you guys in a minute how they look from the front. But yeah, everything went super well, and eventually I got to this point right here, which I think is just perfect in terms of the level of detail. Now with this spaceship finished, I could start working on the docking arm. As I told you guys in the beginning of the video, my idea is that there is some orbiting paddock around the moon, and each ship of the race is docked on this big spaceship structure that of course I won't build for now. But yeah, not only this gives me the opportunity to make a cool base for the spaceship to keep it on a nice pose, but also it is a great concept, I think. And maybe this could be like a season for the future, like making other racer spaceships. I don't know, let me know in the comments if this sounds interesting. But yeah, I tried my best getting through the finish line with this one, pun intended, and I really couldn't this week. So the extension arm, the docking arm, will have to come on the next episode. Thank you so much if you watched this far in the video, and please consider becoming a member or a patron of this channel. It really helps keeping the lights on. As always, thanks for watching.